Hello everyone and welcome back. In this video we have two goals. Our first goal is to update our comic show route so that we can get the comics associated with the specific comic that we're showing. And also we're going to update the comic show view file to actually show those comments on the page. So let's go ahead and open our comic routes. Find the show page route, which is right here. And then right now what we're doing is we're finding the comic and then rendering the page. What we need to do is find the comic, then find the comments associated with it, then render the page. So basically there's several different ways we could do this, but I'm going to do it the way that is probably the easiest to understand. This is not the best way to do it from a modern JavaScript perspective, but it's the easiest way to understand. And honestly, at this point, we're throwing a lot of complex topics at you. So I want to make things as easy as possible. I don't want to force you to learn even more things and get more confusing. So I want it to keep it as simple as possible. Later on, after you finish this course and you've spent some more time in your developer journey, come back to this and do it the right way once you learn the right way. But for now, we're just going to do it kind of the old school way that's a little bit easier to understand. So what we're doing is we are finding the comic, executing that query to get a promise back, and then we are rendering the page. So before we render the page, so we need to, basically we're just going to get rid of that for now. We're going to put it back in later. So then we need to find the comments. So comment.find, and then we're going to pass our query into there. But first, I think we need to import comments. Yes, we do. Const comment equals require /models/comment. So now we have comments imported, so I need to find, and now this is the part where I want to talk for a second about queries in Mongoose. Let's go ahead and we can just pull up the docs. Basically what you do is you pass an object of key value pairs. So this one, for example, find each person with a last name matching ghost, so name.last matches ghost, selecting the name and occupation fields. So the first object you find is what you're searching for, and then the second you pass, if you pass something else, you don't have to, and we're not going to, but if you pass something else, it tells it what fields you want to select. If you come from an SQL background, then that would be select these in these kind of thing. And then you can pass a callback function. So what we're going to do is we're going to pass an object that will kind of query the database and find what we're looking for, and then we're going to pass a callback. I'm not a huge fan of callbacks, like I said, but in my previous monologue on keeping things easy, they're just a little bit easier in this use case, and I don't want to overload you. So comment.find, and we need to find it where I think it's comic ID is the key that we gave it. Let's double check. Oops, comic. Yeah, comic ID is what we're going to search for. So we're going to find it where the comic ID is equal to request.params.id. Because remember, the comic that we're finding has that ID. That's the ID that we're going to find. And then so we're searching for any comments that have that. Now we could go ahead and chain in .thens and stuff like that, but it gets really messy because you have a .then inside of a .then, and you have to worry about all the different synchronous functions running at the same time, and it's a pain in the butt. So we're just going to do a callback. By passing in a callback function, you're going to get two arguments, error if there is one, and then the found comment, we'll call it, found comments. Or we can just call this comments. So this is going to be an array of all of the comments that are found within the database that are associated with this comic. So after we get that back, we need to do if error res.send error. In other words, if an error is returned from here, we just want to go ahead and stop, send there, and when we're done. Else, so in other words, if there's not an error, we want to res.render comics_show, passing in comic and comments. Comic right here comes from this because it's being passed into this the function as comic, and comments comes from here. And remember, we're passing in an object, and this is ES6 shorthand. This is the same as this. It just makes it easier and shorter to write it like that. So right now we can go ahead and save that, and it's not going to change anything in our actual website because we haven't actually used comments inside of our page. Let's go ahead and cdn, no daemon, get the running URL and port, open it up. Let's just try it. Let's look. It's not going to give us a problem. Yeah, so I mean it still loads, but we're just not ever using those things. So the next step is to actually use those inside of our view. So we go into views, and we want comics_show. What we need to do here is, let's go ahead and look at the page right here where it says comment header, and then we're going to have a username and the comment text here. Underneath here, we want to render basically a row that has two columns. It has the username column and the text column. Fortunately, we've already set this up with Bootstrap, so instead of doing this dummy data, we're going to wrap this inside of a for each, and then just render one of these. Actually, we're going to wrap this whole thing inside of them, and render one of these for each comment. So we're going to do our scriptlet tags, comments.forEach comment. So for each comment, do this. Except instead of this dummy data, let's fix our indentation. What's up here? So instead of this dummy data, we're going to do % comment.user. And instead of this dummy data, we'll do comment.text. And user and text are the keys that we set up on our comics model. So let's save that. And now refresh this page, and there we go. We've got our 3 comments that are associated with this comic. And if we wanted to, we could go to comments/new, add another one. Let's actually put some real data. So my username, and this is my comment. Submit, and there it shows up. Perfect. That's exactly what we want. In this video, we did 2 main things. First, we edited our comic show route to add a second step, because we were just getting the comment and then rendering. Now we're getting the comment, and then after that's done, getting all of the comments associated with that comment. And then after that's done, we're sending either an error if an error comes back, or we are rendering that page, passing in the comic and the comments. Notice that I have named these plural on purpose. You don't have to. You can name this X if you wanted to, but it's good to be very specific with your variable naming. And anytime that you have an array, it's a very good idea to make that word plural. So comments, that way it makes it very easy for you as the programmer and other people who are following you to realize that this is multiple things while this is one thing. Then we also went into the show page for our comic and added a for each loop that basically just renders a row for each comment, passing in the data from that comment, both the user and the text. As always, if you have any questions, please let me know. I'll be happy to help. Thanks.